What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/StoriesAboutKevin. This story's called, I suffered through an entire year trying to train this Kevin. Sorry for the long post, but I swear I've condensed it a great deal already. Kevin had just graduated high school and landed a job in my team. Our recruitment company had stopped working with us because we had poached one of their employees, and I suspect they placed him with us as one last piece of revenge. He was on a one-year business admin traineeship, and seemed to think he was going to run his own business one day. Now, Kevin was nice enough. He showed up on time, he wore professional attire, he tried to sound professional on the phone. Unfortunately, he had an incredible lack of common sense and a complete inability to comprehend the most basic instructions. Despite us showing him the correct way to do things several times, he would still do things like stealing other people's staplers because he couldn't figure out how to refill his own, bending paper clips out of shape to the point that they no longer even held the pages together, and saying, "But I like it this way," when he was questioned. Instead of folding letters in thirds with the client's address in the plastic window, he would fold it in half, then in half again, and crumple the envelope trying to cram it in. While setting up his voicemail message, the automated instruction voice told him to say his name. He gave an entire voicemail speech instead. My boss told him to fix it. He did the exact same thing again. He'd walk away when he jammed the printer, even though its screen shows very specific instructions with pictures on how to fix it. He got chewed up by a regional manager for this one. He also told stories about being hospitalized for drinking too much water and jumping into his car while it was being stolen because he always just left the keys on the seat. I kid you not, he was actually proud of himself telling us all about how he was questioned by the police. He once asked me how to print a website. This was on work time, and the page was called How to Start a Business. I clarified that you would have to print each individual page, and he looked defeated. Halfway through his time here, we realized that he needed to be told not to sleep at his desk, to which he would say, "It makes the day go faster." He would almost always leave 15 minutes early every day. My boss worked different hours, until he had it explained to him that he is paid to be at work, working. He once loaded up a manager's car with the wrong boxes of pamphlets, but couldn't even calculate how many we needed to recover, because he wasn't counting how many boxes he'd taken in the first place. This seems like a normal mistake until I tell you that I had them set up for him on a shelf, shown him, then taped a post-it note saying, "For manager's name." At one point, I caught him trying to send spreadsheets of our customer sensitive data to the external company that graded his coursework. I had to explain that no, you can't give out clients' full names, dates of birth, addresses, and contact information to people who don't work here. He accepted a call from reception and told them it was okay for them to send a client to our locked floor. We're just head office processing the paperwork. Clients aren't supposed to show up here. Then when the doorbell rang, he didn't even get up to answer it. I had to do everything I could to converse with them without letting them in, meaning I wasn't able to go back inside to grab business cards for the consultants who could help them. This kid chewed off fingernails on his desk and spilled toner on there, which he ignored until we moved offices. I counted. He just never asked or Googled how to clean it up. It wasn't on a part of his desk that he touched, so I wasn't concerned about poisoning. Just wanted to see how long it would last. Guys, he straight up left it there for almost 5 months. After that, he was only in our new office for 6 days before his placement was finished, and managed to spill some kind of sticky, oily goo all over his desk and inside the drawers, ready for his replacement. He proved over and over that we couldn't trust him with anything even mildly difficult, so he only ended up performing about 15 to 20% of the role. Then one day he told my coworker, "This job is too easy," and that he was looking to pursue higher education in the field. This was a shock to us all, as his coursework was returned most of the time for errors. The weirdest thing I saw was when we had flimsy envelopes that needed a piece of tape in each corner to secure the contents. He would place 2 pieces of tape on top of each other. It seemed like every time we tried to teach him something, half of it flew right out of his brain. We tried different learning styles, hoping maybe if we wrote it down or sent pictures or got him to press the buttons himself a few times, that he would start to get it. No dice. I told my boss about one of his mistakes that I discovered after he left, and she told me, "Some brains you just can't work with." He finally finished up with us a few months ago, and I'm still trying to adjust to working with his competent replacement. "What do you mean you know how to follow patterns, problem solve, and refer to notes?" I will never take common sense for granted again. Now, I'm not claiming that I'm the smartest person in the world, but I swear, being that dumb must be pretty freaking great. Because you know what? Like the saying goes, ignorance is bliss. Just imagine being completely oblivious to all the negativity in your life. You would be so happy. Well, you might not have the greatest standing with people unless you're really, really nice and caring, but like, just imagine being that happy. Just imagine. Kind of like how Goku is. He's always cheery and happy because he's dumb as a freaking pile of rocks. I mean, aside from all the aliens killing his friends, but hey, it doesn't seem to affect him long term, so hey. This story's called Kevin the Engineer. That's gotta be an oxymoron. I've lurked this sub for a while now, laughing and being thankful I'm not responsible for these people, but I've just connected the dots. My coworker is definitely a Kevin, and unfortunately, I'm partially responsible for him. I'm a scientist and work with a group of other scientists, and Kevin is our engineer. Engineers represent the ideal blend of book smarts and street smarts, right? Wrong. I have no idea how Kevin got his degree, or survived past 25, and I am mildly annoyed at myself for not noticing his rampant idiocy before hiring him on. But alas, he has been hired and has worked here for almost a year, so here are the standout stories so far, in no particular order. Kevin can't count. One of the tasks we assigned to Kevin's feeble mind was serializing some equipment. There are 40 identical metal parts which needed numbers, 1 through 40, engraved on them. It took him an entire day somehow, but he got the job done. He said it took so long because he wanted to do the job correctly. The next day, he was out of the office, my other coworker and I used the parts in our production process, and we realized there were 2 parts marked number 27, there were no parts marked number 38, there was a number 41 somehow. We did end up roasting him about this over our work group chat while he was away at the dentist. See, Kevin goes to the dentist below. Kevin makes Hot Pockets. Kevin has a food-centric worldview and has attended many a lunch meeting that is irrelevant to him because of the opportunity for food. He had a carton of Hot Pockets, gross, sent to our building and had been heating them up for snacks. One time I was misfortunate enough to be there for the Hot Pocket ritual. Firstly, Kevin chose the toaster, not the toaster oven or microwave to do the job. Secondly, it took him upwards of 8 minutes to figure out how to work the toaster. Mind you, this toaster has 1 knob and was already plugged in. I almost helped him out after the first few minutes, but my other coworker and I chose to observe his stupidity instead. 1 knob! At the end of it all, it created a molten, burning cheese mess inside the toaster. He did not clean it up. Kevin doesn't know how to spell his own name. At our company, we have a logging system for purchasing where we enter our name, the vendor, and the amount purchased. Kevin has repeatedly omitted and switched letters in his own name, and I opened the file to see Kevin last name. He also tried to initial a training log once and wrote his initials upside down. He claims he got confused. Kevin goes to the dentist. Kevin requested 2 days off work for a dentist appointment. We assumed it was a surgical procedure, like getting his wisdom teeth out. Half a day for the procedure, 1.5 days to recover. Seems reasonable. Nope, it was a checkup. Kevin used to live around 400 miles away from our city and relocated for his job with us. And he flew back to his hometown to go to the dentist. He said it would be easier and make more sense because he has invisible braces. I'm still confused about this one. Kevin used a coffee maker. At work, we have one of those coffee makers where you insert a disposable pod and make a single cup. I tend to avoid them because I don't hate the earth, but many people enjoy the convenience. Kevin went to make his cup and realized the water level was low, so the machine wouldn't let him. The pod coffee makers break if we heat the hard water straight from the sink, so we fill them with filtered water. Kevin looked at the 2 large containers of filtered water by the sink that pour water quickly, and instead chose the container of filtered water inside the fridge. We have this since sometimes it's nice to have ice-cold water to drink after a long job in the lab or shop, which pours very slowly. Kevin crouched uncomfortably in front of the open fridge, filling the coffee reservoir with cold water for an excruciatingly long time, while he could have used the room temperature water and done it in seconds. And yes, it took another long period of time to get his cup of joe because the water had to heat up around 20 more degrees to get to 100 degrees Celsius than if he had chosen the reasonable route. Kevin doesn't understand basic human reasoning or engineering. We have a chemical process at work where materials have to react over the weekend in a chamber connected to a gas line. All we have to do is connect a gas tank to the chamber using a plastic tube, open the tank, and blammo, done. We currently have 2 chambers and 6 tanks. Kevin has connected a single tank to both chambers and is mystified when the gas tank runs out over the weekend, ruining the product. So we have been suggesting the same idea for months. Connect tank A directly to chamber A, connect tank B directly to chamber B. It takes more than one tank sometimes to last 2+ days for multiple chambers, but if there's only one chamber connected, it's fine. Kevin again brought up the problem of the gas running out and we suggested the idea. He was beyond confused again and suggested an incredibly complicated system involving one-way valves. His idea was too incoherent to make sense, but I believe it would still connect tank A to both chambers A and B. I'm not sure why he still refuses to connect each tank to its own chamber. He claims it doesn't make any sense. I'm not sure how else to explain it, besides drawing a diagram of the setup that literally consists of 2 parallel lines. That's all I can remember for tonight. Hope you all enjoyed my first post here. I would feel bad about making fun of this guy, but he is very well off financially and still thinks highly of himself, not seeming to realize how blindingly idiotic he is. Ignorance is bliss, I guess. Okay, first off, this is a really funny story, but who the hell says gross to Hot Pockets? Hot Pockets are a beautiful freaking mobile food. Like, how do you not love them? Okay, that's besides the point. Oh, also, please don't put anything that contains cheese in a toaster because cheese contains a ton of fats, and fat, when you melt it, it's oil. So when you expose that melted fat to an electrical heating unit, it's gonna catch on fire. It's gonna be a mess. Don't do that. But this was a really funny story. This, he wrote his freaking initials upside down. That's beautiful. I've got a theory though. I'm thinking this guy's just pulling the most epic prank ever, okay? He's gotta be trolling. And he's just trying to see how much stupid he can get away with. And so far, he's getting away with a lot. This story's called, My Brother Has a Ton of Kevin Moments. My brother doesn't follow the way of the Jedi. He follows the way of the Kevin. He is a lot of things, but logical or able to see what will inevitably happen are not things he is. This happened about 40 years ago. When we were 11, me, female, and 14, my brother, my parents arranged for us to fly to Florida to stay with my grandparents while my mom put the final touches on her dissertation and defended it. We were going to be on vacation with our extremely loving grandparents. The day before we leave, bro has to cut the lawn. He had done this for several years, so it isn't like he was brand new at it. Something malfunctioned on the mower. The muffler turned red hot. What did bro do? Bro decided to take the muffler off and use the mower without it. I know it was a bad idea. He should have known that it wasn't a good idea. Rather than using common sense and asking our dad to help him, he decided to take the muffler off himself. With his bare hand. Because of course you don't need an oven mitt or something to protect yourself. His hand sticks to the muffler when he touches it. He let out a scream that I only heard when he was back in 3rd grade. That scream always tells me when he has hurt himself badly. Mom, Dad, and I come running out of the house like the hounds of hell are on our heels. My dad had to forcefully pull my bro's hand off of the muffler. Bits of bro's hand were left on the muffler. Mom got a clean towel and wrapped up his hand. Then Dad took him to the ER while Mom and I worked to get his stuff packed for the trip. Bro had to endure having his hand cleaned up by the doctor at the ER. He had multiple prescriptions that needed to be filled. Mom and I were so happy to see him come back home after only a couple of hours. We thought he would be there for most of the night. He only got out so fast because he was bumped up due to the severity of his burn. The next day, the airline balked at letting him on the plane. As unaccompanied minors, we would be the airline's responsibility. Bro had gotten a note from the ER doc saying that he was quite healthy and able to fly without any problems, so they had to let him fly. The airline took great care of us, including those toy wings, decks of cards with the airline's name on them, meals, a snack to take with us when we had to change planes, and someone to escort us to our connecting flight. It was a good thing we had that escort because we almost missed the connecting flight. My grandparents were there to pick us up when our plane arrived. They were not expecting bro's arm to be in a sling, or to have doctor's recommendations for what he wasn't allowed to do. He couldn't go swimming or shower without putting his hand into a bread bag and putting a hair tie around it. Luckily, I packed a lot of hair stuff. Grandma and I like to play with our hair. I got the first of many breaks from bro when Grandma packed up a bunch of stuff, got me into the car, then she took me to the beach. I had a lot of fun, so did Grandma. The next day, Grandpa took me shopping and Grandma did something with bro that wouldn't injure his hand. I got a lot of girly stuff like lip gloss and a new dress and several new books. Then we stopped in at a used bookstore and I got a lot more books. I was, and am, a total bookworm. A nice one who picked out books her bro would like while I was at the used bookstore. Bro's hand was much improved by the time we flew home, and my mom had her dissertation completed and defended. So now she was Mom, PhD. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.